Which breed of dog best describes you and why?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh man. I want to say a corgi because they're really cute. But I think I love huskies, and I think that they're super rambunctious at times, but they can be really smart. And I feel like that is like a good kind of summary of me. Like
I like
can
that.
be you know, fun and playful, but at the same time is like smart and all-knowing.
I love that. What about you, D?
Um, for me, well, I would have thought like German Shepherd because that's what we grew up with. Hard-headed, uh, hard to work with.
Yes.
This is super protective, lovable. So yeah, probably German Shepherd. I wish I was like a pit bull or something because they're just super sweet and smart. But the hard-headed, I can't stray away from that.
No, you can't. I can attest to that. It's very true.
Like,
Okay.
what
My
about you, Kim?
oh,
How
Yeah.
would you
I was
be?
gonna say a corgi because I'm small and chunky.
Oh my
Because I thought about it. I was like, I don't know.
God. Corgis are the best though. I love
They
corgis.
really are.
So cute.
They really are. Okay. Second question. If you could have a dime for every time a person said blank about you, what would that statement be? What's something that everybody says that you do or you whatever?
I think it would be that I cry at everything. Like the wind can blow on my face and I'd be like, that's so beautiful. Like, like I just cry at everything. Movies, TV shows, music, everything. And everyone's always like, you gotta stop crying.
I feel like I've been more emotional now as like more sappy now as I've gotten older.
Yeah,
And
a
I'll
word.
cry at like things that you shouldn't cry about.
Yeah, me,
I
yeah, I'm the same way. It's
I
horrible.
totally agree. That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. If you woke up one day and was one character from any fantasy slash mythological movie or TV series, who would it be and why? You could only pick one.
Oh my God, this is so hard because I'm such a nerd.
I know. That's why I asked it.
Oh man.
She knows your weak point.
I
Yeah.
know. Seriously. Oh my God. I just started rewatching Game of Thrones, so I'm like, what are good characters from there? But I think, oh my God, this is so hard. So my brain goes to Harry Potter and my heart goes other places. There's actually this really cool character from Star Wars who nobody knows about, who I would totally love to be. Her name is Mara Jade.
Oh,
Um,
I know her.
yeah, she's so cool. She's like this boss ass bitch who just like she was first the hand of the empire or emperor, so she's like from the dark side, but then she turns soft and is like super boss ass bitch,
She
but at
married
the
Luke,
same time like
right? Didn't
good
she marry
person.
Luke?
Yeah, she marries Luke, which he's probably my least favorite character from the series, but I just like Mara Jade. So probably be her, I think. She's a good one.
Kim,
She's a
Kim,
good
what about
Yeah,
you?
I have you guys know. I have no comment on this nerd talk.
Yeah,
That's why
it's
Danielle's
so
here.
hard. This question is so hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
agree.
Who would you pick, D?
Oh
Since you're
my
here.
goodness. See, like,
The
I
Witcher?
probably the character
Oh,
that I
Witcher.
like a lot. I have a lot of female characters that I like and also would like, are definitely the definition of me, but I can't pick one. It's
I
very
know it's so
hard.
hard. And there's also like those like really cool characters like The Witcher.
Yeah.
That's just
It's a
and
great show.
Yennefer, like who would like it's so hard. The more we open it up, the more I'm like, wow, I would pick 10 other characters too.
Well, I ask because I feel like people who are um like really big fans of one fantasy or mythological show or TV show or movie or
Yeah.
whatever are also fans of all the other ones because
Oh
it's
yeah,
very like,
for
Yeah.
sure.
intersectional in interest. So I'd imagine I asked it because I'd imagine to be a very difficult one.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm sure it probably would change depending on the day too. So
Absolutely. I'll probably be thinking about this question every single day until the day I'm dead and be like, who would I be?
And an equally as hard question: the best type of potato. Meaning,
I like, okay.
French
well,
fry, tater tot, mashed potato, sweet potato fry, curly fry, waffle fry. It's a very big debate
Oh,
on the podcast
shoot.
so far.
Oh my
Style.
God. I thought you were going to ask me like species of potato, and I was like, Yukon Gold. But then
like style or type.
Oh my God. Okay. I think I'm going to have to go with, I mean, I love me some waffle fries.
Thank you.
I love waffle fries, but a regular French fry, you can dress it up so much more than you could a regular waffle fry. Because waffle fries, I feel like, always have this distinct flavor that you can't really change too much. But like a regular French fry, you can make it like the black truffle French fry with like a little bit of cheese on it. Or you could just douse it with nacho cheese. You can dress it up so much. Also, I'm just a sucker for French fries.
Me too. Do you eat too much French fries and then your stomach hurts? You get that weird pain?
Yeah, I do. But it's so good.
It's winter time, so it's French fry time. That's
absolutely. I'm right there with you. Right there with. I just got over easy yesterday, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna sub that salad for French fries.
$2 extra? Okay, and
yeah,
give me. Yes, I know, because I get it every time. I'm very much aware.
Yeah, give me the French fry.
Danielle said the tater tot.
Okay, I get that. Tater tots are really good.
Yeah,
but I
put them in your pocket.
I feel like you can mess them up though. Like you have to get them perfect.
Yeah, because they can either be too mushy. I like the crunch on the outside and like the softness on the inside. That's like the perfect tater tot.
Right. Agreed. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you said
also a really good question.
Thank you.
Because like so many people have so many different potato
preferences. Yeah, it's been a very hot debate between the two of us, so I figured I'd ask.
Yeah. Did you ask that question to Paige?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I should have.
I was curious if that should be like your themed question.
Yeah.
Like everybody has to answer it.
Yeah. I think it's very telling.
Podcast.
It is. Yeah.
One theme question is, what type of French fry or potato product do you like?
Or like mashed potatoes can also be, and baked potatoes
are so good. Yeah.
Can also be
All right. Okay. Don't get
okay. Now I'm moving on to quick fire this or that questions. So I'm going to give you two options. You have to pick one or the other. There's not a lot, but
okay.
Cheez-Its or Goldfish?
Goldfish.
Barbecue or sour cream and onion?
I was very oh my god. Barbecue.
Nacho cheese or Cool Ranch?
Nacho cheese.
Crunchy Cheetos or puffy Cheetos?
Crunchy Cheetos.
Okay. Andrew Garfield Spider-Man or Tobey Maguire Spider-Man?
Oh, neither. Tobey Maguire, because we grew up with Tobey Maguire.
Wonder Woman or Harley Quinn?
Oh shoot.
Can't you tell that was specific?
Yeah, that's very specific. Oh my god, Harley Quinn, because the new Wonder Woman movie had me really disappointed.
Okay. Okay. I have a story. Chris Pratt or Chris Hemsworth?
Chris Hemsworth, because I'm dating Chris Pratt. So we're gonna go with Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Evans or Chris Pine?
What was the first one?
Chris Evans or Chris Pine?
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth?
Chris. I'm like going through their whole filmography in my head. Oh my god. Let's go with Hemsworth.
Congratulations. Why are you saying it like that? It's great.
I feel like I don't really do much with it. I wrote it, I published it. It's sold out of Barnes and Noble in the store.
Okay, hold on. Time out real quick. Let me get into it because I have it.
That's good.
I have the book, and you signed the book.
I did sign it.
Okay, so her poetry book is Life's Sinister Spells and Other Magic that came out 2 years ago. You
Oh
published
my
it two
God.
years ago?
Time is confusing. I think it was 2 years. It had to have been 2018.
Something like that, two-ish
I
years
don't know.
ago.
2018. What year is it? What day is it today? Whatever, but yeah, go ahead.
I keep writing 2020 on all of my stuff still.
Me too.
It's fair. It's January, it's fair.
Yeah.
Um,
It's when May rolls around and you're like, oh, why am I still doing this?
very true. I want to talk about it because it's really awesome. Congratulations on publishing it, because that's hella cool just to begin with. But well, let me go back. Poetry, right?
Yeah.
And you've talked multiple times in the podcast and interview that you're a writer and you like writing. What was it like about poetry specifically? Because there's so many different types of writing that
Yeah.
interested you and fascinated you to start getting into it.
So I have always been a fiction writer, always been writing about characters who are similar to myself, who have different storylines and stuff. But I was in such a dark place where I would just take out a piece of paper and just write down how I was feeling in some different way. And then it just became like poetry. It was actually just how it came to me also. Like I always have thought very poetically and very like dramatically, I guess you can say. But poetry, because I went away to college. For those who don't know, I went away to college before I was a commuter. And yeah, and I hated it. I missed home. I never was a person to go away to camp or go away to even like spend the night at, like I would spend the night at like my grandma's house when I was a kid, but it would be me and all of my cousins. So I was never
But
really,
it was comfortable.
yeah, and I was never really like alone in those situations. And even when I was like I remember there was this one night when I was a kid, I slept over my aunt's house and I was alone and I was like, I hate this. But I always felt like I had to go away to college because nobody in my family had stayed home and been a commuter. So I always felt like I just had to go away. That was the only choice. I knew I didn't want to, but something was like, I have no choice. So I went
Well,
away.
sorry to intervene,
Oh yeah.
because I agree. Because I mean, I had the same thing where when it came time for me to transfer, because I started at community college, everybody was telling me to go away.
Yeah.
You need to go away. You need to have the college experience.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever
Total
that
quotes around the college experience.
whatever that is. And I found that I told you I had got to the point where I was gonna go away. I had gotten into a school in Pennsylvania. I was gonna go away. I
Yeah.
put all the cards in, and then don't transfer schools during a pandemic. One, it's difficult. But no, like once I had like nobody would get back to me about scheduling. I didn't know what was going on. Mind you, like it was the beginning of the pandemic, so I'm sure everybody was figuring out their ish, right? So I give them that. But I'm like, maybe this is a sign that I shouldn't go away, because deep down inside I ultimately do not want to go away,
Yeah.
because there is a benefit and a comfortability of one being home, but two, I found that I feel like I was going to leave my life and kind of wasted away at school, because
Right.
I'm at home, I'm working, I'm also going to school, like I'm maintaining a responsibility and a schedule. Um, and if I went away, I'm just kind of blowing that off and spending so much money.
Right.
But when I was applying to Rutgers, they asked, "Why did you apply to Rutgers?" And I said, "Because I was told by everybody that I have to gain this college experience, and that just meant going away to school. But in reality, those are other people's college's experiences. That's not mine.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
not
And it
that's not
really does differ between people. And I think that's what a
yeah.
lot of high schoolers need to know. Like every time somebody asks me like, "Oh, what was it like applying to colleges?" I'm like, "Just do what you want to do. Like just don't listen to anybody." I think that's something so important that like the younger crowd, I mean, we're not so much older obviously, but I think I
Well,
don't
when
know.
they have
And
people
it's so
come back
hard.
school, they'll have
Yeah.
people, because at our school they had college students come back to talk to the high schoolers. They didn't have any community college kids there.
Exactly. It was all people who went away. And I had signed up for that, and I was ready to talk about me transitioning from Montclair to Monmouth, but then there was a huge snowstorm and they canceled the whole thing. I was like, damn, I was really ready to tell these kids, like, do what you want to do. like
Yeah.
don't do what people tell you is the college. Like, there's such a, I guess, definition to college of being like, oh yeah, you got to go away and you got to party and you got to have those nights when you're so sick to your stomach that you can't even wake up the next day. But it's like, no, like that's not for everybody. And like, I don't know, like my college experience will totally differ from everybody's. Yours will, and Danielle's, yours will, you know, like it's just everybody has a different experience, but you just got to do what you want to do. So it's just like, that's so important to tell people.
Yeah, because in your book you talk about it a lot.
Yeah, and I was also having such a hard time because I was in school, the relationships around me, like my own with John, the boy,
Oof.
and John, and every like just things were like just withering away because I felt myself, like I felt so down within myself, but everybody else, like John and other people, and he will attest to this too, like I guess just didn't understand that. And I was like also not having the best like attitude towards things. And I was just completely alone and just felt so down. And that's when the whole poetry thing really kicked off. And I was just writing nonstop, notebooks full of poetry. And then transitioning back, it wasn't like a terrible transition. Monmouth was really great about it, but just transitioning back, like finding a job and like doing things like that, learning the commuting lifestyle. And then a good friend of mine was arrested, and then weeks later a sister figure of mine passed away. So it was just like a lot of this crazy emotion in such a short amount of time. And that's when I just literally nonstop was like boom boom boom, writing. um
So
and I
you
didn't even
started writing
realize.
relatively recently then.
Yeah, poetry was a complete, I hated poetry. I like, because what we learned in high school and middle school was like Thoreau and like all these poets who were just like, I don't want to do this. And we were forced to do like poetry out loud. And I just had such a bad, I guess, thought about poetry. Like it was just like such a negative connotation because the way that we learned about poetry was so different from the poetry that I wrote. And I didn't learn about that type of poetry because I just thought I was like writing sentences. And then I started reading poetry books and starting to gain an understanding that there's so many different types of poetry out there, where I was like, I am writing poetry and I could successfully, you know, publish this one day. And I didn't realize until I looked in my notebook that I had like 120 different poems.
Yeah.
And that's when I just started putting them together, and I asked Catherine to illustrate it, and we just kind of put it out.
Well, I mean, you bring up a good point, because when I think of poetry, or when a lot of people think of poetry is something that can be very it can differ from perception depending on who's reading it, because it's like scripture in a lot of ways where it's interpreted differently from different
Yeah.
people. But when I got your book the first time, I read it and I loved it because I was hella excited for you. But the second time reading it, I actually was like not that I wasn't paying attention, but I was paying attention to what you were saying, and the way that you were writing your poetry for real was a lot like how musical artists write lyrics. Like
Right.
it coincides with lyricism, where you are very much telling your story and talking about different topics like heartbreak
Yeah.
and love and feeling alone and grief in ways in poetry that are have that pointed emotion where it's very universal and people can understand what they're reading. So
Right. And I
good job
think
with
too,
that.
like, yeah, thank you. I think too, like a lot of like every poem is obviously like if you put one in front of me, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is the story behind it, and this is how I was feeling at that point writing it. but I wanted it to be, like you said, universal, where if somebody picked it up who I didn't know, who didn't know what I was going through, they could relate to it in some way. Like, yeah, of course, like there are poems there are poems in there that are illustrated to my experiences, like when my friend was arrested and, you know, the newspapers, it looks like the newspapers are flying away because that was a very intense point of my life where I was constantly on the news and constantly looking at, like, I would go into Gems or Bagel store and see his face on the front cover and be like, oh my God, like I grew up with that person and that was heartbreaking. So of course, like that poem with that illustration tells a very specific story. But if somebody else were to read it, they could be like, oh, I know how you feel, kind of thing, you know, like I wanted to make it very universal. And that's really why I published it anyway. Like I'm not looking for any type of income from it. And that's why I don't really promote my book so much. I'm like, if somebody stumbles on it, that's going to be great. But I did it for myself as like closure, and also for anybody else who picks it up and is like, this is helping me, which is like, I've had a few people in Barnes and Noble come up to me and be like, oh my God, like this was beautiful. I'm like, thank you.